This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, November 14th, 2018. And pre-market, we were all the way down here. This 100 shares have a price of 1617.53. And from there, we rallied. I just think it's funny seeing like 100 shares right there, right on the line that we've got. Like, isn't that crazy? So anyway, yeah, so this, why is it not highlighting? The line we've got is a penny off from that. So just thought I'd point that out. Anyway, rallied up from there, and we've actually gotten above this pivot from yesterday, and it'd be really interesting to see if we actually make it back up to 1665. And look at that. We don't quite. Okay, almost. There you go. Then we got into it right here. This kind of, to me, kind of looks like yesterday's open. You got a bullish candle and then a bearish candle. That's pretty big. That's a little bit opposite here. I had a really big bullish candle and then a really small bearish candle, but high wave candle. The second 5-minute candle was high wave. Not quite as high wave as this one, but still high wave. So this is where it differs, but we still are not closing above this line. We didn't do it yesterday at the open. We've got 3 candles here that, this looked like it was moving higher, really high wave. This is inside candle. Yesterday we were already starting to break down, and today we start to break down on the 4th 5-minute candle. Again, not getting a close above. So from here, this is clearly reversing, starting to break out bearish from this, 2-candle pennant here. And I know it's hard to see. I still want to keep a little bit of yesterday on. There you go. So a little easier to see these candles. We did not make a higher high here. We're starting to break down, making a lower low from this candle. I'm sorry, this candle from this one and from this one. Somebody could be waiting to get in bearish here and stop way up here. That'd be really wide and probably 2R all the way down to the 1617.54 price. And we start to break down, retest into these lows, go sideways a little bit more, start to break down some more. Pretty quickly break down. Okay, really small candle. This is a nice place that we looked like we're going lower. It started to sell off and then rallied hard. And you have what looks like a Morningstar reversal. It's just kind of a bullish engulfing candle here. High wave candle. This range we got into after hours yesterday. And this was kind of where we were looking like we were going to do a double bottom here, and then collapsed, came right back into this area. Similar price to where we're at right here. That was kind of the last time we pivoted yesterday. Excuse me. And go sideways. So this is 20 minutes of just stair-stepping here. And looks similar to a couple candles in here, just stair-stepping in this range or stair-stepping through here. Same area we did yesterday. We're doing it right here. We've got slightly higher highs, but I think we're staying below this high from the indecision candle. Let's see, the high here is 1645.96. The high here is 1645.87. So just a little tiny bit below that. And then we break down. So this could have been kind of a bracket setup. This, with the bearishness that we've got going, it makes sense that we would S-curve a little bit. That's just the S-curve, And then we move pretty good, pretty quickly down, almost to the line. And let's see, do we actually get there? Yeah, we get there here. So this was really nice. I didn't see this candle form. I saw a few more candles later. I saw around here. I was like, okay, let's see if this will pull back. That was a really nice reversal. Let's see if we can bounce and rally up like we did yesterday. And sorry, that's not on. There we go. let's see if we can get some sort of a pullback, get in bullish here, maybe don't come back down and touch this, and rally back up to 1665. And what happens? Let's see, right here, we pull back, and doing this virtually, I got filled, I think, on this candle, and I got stopped out pretty quickly after that, I think in here, because I did not want it to come back and touch this line. It did, and I got stopped out, and then it started to bounce again. It's like, did it really just come down and do a double bottom? And I should have had a wider stop and came back up here, comes down, does it again. I was not getting back in. I was waiting, watching this. I liked seeing that we have a hammer candle here and then an inside hammer, but this is 3 touches now into the 1617.54 price. We get the squeeze forming. We're kind of hanging out down here. And that was the thing. If we touch this again, we're definitely not launching off of it. We did not have the strength of a buy off of this level with this candle. Clearly, like we had yesterday, where we had this huge lower wick, we only touched it with a single candle. Didn't even get back down to it here. Well, today we're back down into it. We've taken out these lows. Anyone who got puts is making money. Anybody who was in calls is now trapped. This could just chop around down here or could break lower. And again, it bounces, but just goes sideways. That squeeze is forming. You've got the 21 putting pressure to the downside. You've got the 1617 just holding steady. I mean, you have one candle here and one candle here that actually had a close below. But other than that, this was working as a really strong support. Even these wicks only coming down into the 1615 area, 1614 area. But this is starting to really consolidate with a really nice triangle. And it's been a while since we've seen this kind of consolidation. And then we get a couple of really small candles, and then we just go. So these, we have a high wave candle here, an inside candle, really small, and it's at 12:35. We break down right after that. What happens next? We retest and then continue on lower. So this is interesting. We actually had a little bit of so this was kind of a really quick retest, a little bit longer retest, almost into 1617.54. And then I think one more retest, actually get into this line, come right into where the triangle had broken down. This starts to look like a double bottom, just like yesterday looked like a double bottom, and actually did break out and then just collapsed. We're kind of doing something similar today, not a surprise. And then we roll over and come right back down, just really quickly, just, ran right into it, indecision candle, continue again lower. And we close near the low of the day. We actually made a low in the day with this candle. So any of these opportunities to take this bearish, take a bearish here with a stop, a little bit of, it's possible you would have been stopped out here or trailed out here if you had moved your stop. It's possible you're trailed out here or stopped out here. If you had gotten in on this setup and didn't tighten your stop. But just seeing how long this consolidated for a couple of hours, it makes sense to have a little bit of a longer retest and kind of this double S curve here. Even kind of a fake breakout that this actually made a slightly higher high to this pivot. But really nicely just reverse, went pretty much straight down, didn't really chop very much, a little bit here, but a lot of bearish candles in a row. If we zoom out, we are in this setup where we didn't quite make it back up to 1670. I'm sorry, up to 1700. We came back up to the 1670s here, which was kind of this range, but didn't quite get back up to 16. I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong number again. Didn't get up to 1700. Have a little bit more of a flat shoulder here. If this doesn't turn into a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder, and really today we started getting into this neckline. You know, this neckline price, these three lines here, it's really the neckline we were looking at. It's a little bit harder to see here, but you got your shoulder, your head, and then another shoulder with this choppiness. But we've got 5 bearish candles in a row. I zoomed in really far, but I think we were counting that here. We had a few more than that here. Had 4 here. So we haven't had 5 bearish candles in a row since this big drop. Now we've had a pretty good, decent drop. We're coming into some potential support here. If we get a bullish candle or a couple bullish candles and get us back into this range, even back up to 1700, I mean, I think that would be a stretch unless it's really going to bounce. But if we get some bullishness come in and then gap down below it or roll over, that's going to trap so many more people. But it would be nice to have a little bit of a rest right here. If we switch over to the hourly, I think the hourly might be easier to see this. Yeah, so here's your shoulder, your head, and kind of a flat shoulder. And I've seen when you have some head and shoulders that are a little bit flatter on that right shoulder, it has the potential to just collapse more quickly. You didn't even have the buying come in on this shoulder to, have some bulls, make some money, and get out, being up a little bit. This just pretty much is trapping the bulls who were buying in here. Doesn't even give them any hope that they're going to get out at a little bit of a profit. It's just going to trap them even more. And any of the bears that have been getting in all along with, coming off of the head here, they're all making money, and they're just going to continue to short and hold on to those positions lower or add to their positions because they're making money. So we're right here in the neckline. This area here is the neckline. Didn't quite get down to it here, but we were in it a little bit of this space. Kind of this range is the neckline. It'll be really interesting to see if we actually get it lower into the 1500s and take out these lows here with tomorrow's candles, because then we're definitely breaking the neckline. And to me, that means we've got further to go lower, probably into the 1400s, probably back into this low. That would, if you do like a measured move, so we're up here near 1800, the neckline's around 1600, we could go another $200 lower. That's low 1400s, just by a measured move of how high the head got to the neckline. If we switch back to the daily, come on, got stuck. There we go. Measured move back into 1400. We got a line down there, way back down into this. Totally possible we could just flash lower. We could do that kind of move over a couple days if we have a big candle like this. We really could just punch lower here. It's got that potential setting up. I'm not saying it's gonna start tomorrow. Look for some big moves coming into Friday if we get below this. Just watch for that to happen with the options and be able to play it. So if we look at some of the options, the 1700 call is what I was looking at. Actually, no, I think I didn't like how low the premium was on this. I wanted something that was a little closer. So I think I was looking at 1650 calls, maybe. No, I'm not sure which one it was. Let me see if I can find it again. Because I was looking to buy in here somewhere. So was that 1105? 1105 here. I think I was getting in, I want to say it was like 1350 by 1250 maybe. No, maybe it wasn't this option. think it was this option either, because the volume is just not there. Let's go back to 1700. Maybe it was 1700. I didn't think it was. It's on the virtual account, so I can't even switch over to that to look it up. No, it wasn't this, because I would have had plenty of room, and it would have just taken a while to get me out of it. No, it must have been the 1650. Sorry to be wasting folks' time going through this. I was just trying to remember what it was that I traded. It must have been in here. And maybe I did, let's see, maybe I did 14. I must have done like 14 by 13, thinking it shouldn't come back down and touch this. And then it did. And I got stopped out. It must have been 14 by 13. And it just didn't work. Had I waited till it touched the line again and gotten in, like 13 by 12, I could have flipped that out at 15. So that would have been 2R. But my trade was looking for this to bounce without it coming back for a second touch, just like it had done yesterday. So instead, we got multiple touches of this line, and then we broke down right in here. So let's go look at this candle, 1235 on the put. This is the 1600 put. 1235. So we've consolidated here. The range here is a little bit, well, it's a little bit under 1, but it probably would have been tough to get in on this candle. The low is 1810, and the low on this candle is 17. So it would have already been more than $1 risk. Now, had you seen this play out and wanted to set something up like a pullback into this range, maybe you got filled on this candle at 18 by 17 here and made some gain, or maybe you got in on this candle. Maybe you had your setup a little bit lower and we're looking for maybe 17 by 16 or 1750 by 1650. And possibly you got stopped out on this candle because it actually pulled back almost down to 16 and then rallied. Now what's interesting is the lows through here are similar to this low. So had you looked at a different option or had a wider range, you should have had your stop further down here. And that should have worked to get filled on this setup. You would have had to been really patient, but it would have worked. Let's look at 1550. I know this is a little further away. We haven't looked at the 1500 stuff, strikes in a while. There we go. So we're down here. 1235 is right here. So this is, you could have been trading this like 6 by 5, maybe gotten filled here. 6 by 5, that moved up to 8. 6 by 5, that moved up to 8 again. And then 6 by 5 probably got stopped out or trailed on this one. Or if you saw that pull back, then we're getting in on these candles that worked, got out at 8. So that would have been 1R, 2R, 2R, 4R, 6R, something like that. Just playing the last couple hours of the day here. With this initial sell-off, it would have been challenging to have bought way down here, although the risk reward would have been really nice. You could have done absolute zero if you have a $200 R and just had something set up. You could have waited for this consolidation, getting in 4 by 3, that would have worked nicely. If you look back at the 1600 call in that range, I think that was pretty small also. No, wider than I remembered. Okay, so this, you would have needed a $200 R to get into something here like 12 by 11 or something like that. And 12 by 10. But even this, it came down to touch 995. This candle came down to 10. So you would have had to wait for this to break out, retest, and gotten in here. But again, had you set it up 11 by 10, probably wouldn't have been filled, or maybe would have. Or if you'd done 12 by 10, that would have worked all right. But you would have been holding through this, letting this chop, and then it continued on. all the while possibly moving your stop up too tight, getting stopped out here, 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 on its way sideways because there just wasn't any conviction for it to move one direction or the other. So that's some of the potential setups, potential trades that could have been had today. But you know, it's still just a matter of finding the trade that you want. I liked this pullback with the stop down here, wanting this to not touch this line again. Came down and touched it. I was glad to get stepped out because of what it ended up doing and stayed below this price, you know, the rest of the day, essentially. I mean, it got above it a little bit here and was trading into it here, but never any conviction to continue on higher. All the conviction today was bearish. And so, you know, you want to go in that direction, especially as this consolidated. You know, we were hitting the 21 every, 25 minutes or so. We're riding it here. And then here we are starting to not touch it a little bit. Indecision high wave candle, really small candle on the line, getting this close below, and then this collapse. But this wasn't even where you should have been getting in, this breakdown. You could have easily gotten it on the retest. That's what I was just pointing out here. It broke bearish, retested, and then continued. So you could have been getting in on this candle or this candle at 9:55 or 10 instead of taking, sorry, I just jumped to the wrong time. I was talking about this at 12:45. 12:45, that was this. Taking this trade, one of these retests, and then I jump back to this time. Sorry, this is 9:55. That is this consolidation. This would have been a really nice one. Breakdown, retest, could have done the same thing here. Waited for a retest, not just going with the directional trade. Waited for the retest, just setting it up and waiting, and just been hanging out, ready to trade it. And that worked here, and it worked here and here, just depending on what your entry was and what your stop was. So we'll continue to get better at that, figuring this out as we go, and just studying how this thing moves. So I hope this gives you a good perspective of what we could have coming up tomorrow and into the end of the week, into expiration. So hope you enjoyed this video. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.